almost afternoon. I'm going to give it a second, make sure you guys can hear me because if you've caught my lives before, sometimes my service is a little sketchy and I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Make sure that I am in the correct group. Success equation. Okay, yes, I'm in the right group. So if you jump on, if you can let me know that you can hear me okay, I'll give it a second. Doors are locked, dogs are outside, so hopefully no kids, no dogs, no sound interruptions. And we can get to talking about comparison. All right. So I know it's kind of early. And good morning, Leanne. Can you hear me okay? Is my sound and quality okay? Okay, perfect. We're going to get going then, in case you guys are catching the replay. So, if you're catching a replay, be sure to comment #replay to keep this bumped up. But other than that, my name is Bridget Simon. I am a superstar director out of New Braunfels, Texas. It is right between San Antonio and Austin. I have been with Cincy since 2013. August 1st is actually going to be my 9 years in Cincy. So this topic, originally Dana was going to jump on today, but she is at the doctor's office. So if you guys can send Dana all some good love and positive energy right now, she could use it. So I'm going to jump on and talk to you guys today about comparison. Now, Kelly already talked to you guys about comparison in regards to comparing your business to others, which, trust me, being 9 years in, I fully understand it's really hard not to compare to other people that have maybe joined the same time that you did. Joining or comparing yourself to your friends that maybe you've linked up, seeing team members on your team pages passing you up or feeling like they're passing you up. But ultimately, we're not in competition with anybody but ourselves. We shouldn't be comparing our numbers, our personal growth, anything except for who you were yesterday, who you were a year ago. And that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. A couple of weeks ago, I jumped on, and one of the projects or tools that I use in my business is the planner. And as much as I wish I could say that I'm really consistent with it, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not as consistent with this as what I wish that I could be, but we all fall off. And the good thing about it is, like I said, we're in competition with nobody but ourselves. So as soon as I fall off, once I catch myself and I'm like, oh, hey, wait a second, you need to get your butt back in gear, I get right back to my planner. I think that it is a great walking tool that you can use. And what I like about it is even once the year is over, you can stash this away. Especially if you're a paper and pen type of person rather than a digital person. Being able to look back and compare your numbers year after year. I love the idea of it. And I know there's so much more that you can do with a planner, but what I wanted to share with you guys is how to compare yourself this year in business compared to your growth the years past. Now, side note, we all know the past 2 years is completely out of the ordinary. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. When I'm talking about these numbers, unless you are a new consultant, if you've joined in the past 2 years, then yeah, you're going to have to use those numbers. But the past 2 years are out of the ordinary. We are in hypergrowth, and I honestly feel like that's not fair to compare yourself, your team, your personal sales, all the things to the past 2 years. So if you want to go back to 2 years ago when I'm talking about these numbers, then do so. Or if you're like, nope, it's totally up to you. Because again, nobody else is going to see these numbers except for you. So it's totally okay. But what I like to do when it comes to our numbers, and this the front page is the page that I showed you guys, or the monthly page, is that at the very beginning of the month, where is it, over here, I write the number of my PRV from 2021. Because I'm still hoping to stay in somewhat slide upward. Might not be as steep, but hopefully to still continue the slight growth. So what I like to do is I like to write the number in red with my red marker, because red means, hey, nope, hold up, you still got some work to do for the month. So I write my PRV from the previous month, and then I write my PRV goal for this month. Now, default, especially during some of the slower months, I default to 2,500. And you're like, well, why 2,500? Because I want to earn annual sales. And if I can do 2,500 every single month, that's going to earn me annual sales. Why do I want annual sales? Because one, I want that trophy and that plaque. But two, I want that cash bonus in the summertime. Because Summertime is actually slower, and that's normally when we go on to the incentive trips or to reunion. So being able to get that little cash chunk thrown into my bank because I earned annual sales, because I stayed consistent and I aimed for 2,500 every single month, it gives me a good little bonus that I can spend while at reunion or while on the incentive trip. 2,500 is also a good buffer so that, there's going to be some months where I'm going to go over it, especially during the fall winter time during our busy season, and that kind of gives me that buffer for some of those slow months if I don't hit my goal. But I aim to try to do 2,500 every single month. And then underneath that, right here on the side of the notes, I list what my TWV, my GWV, which if you have TWV and GWV and you're not sure what the difference is, those two numbers will stay the same until you have directors under you. So until you have another director under you, your TWV and your GWV is going to be the same. Because I have directors under me, I have two different numbers, so I track those. I track how many recruits I had last year in 2021. Again, if you want to track 2021 or if you want to go back to 2019, you can write whichever ones. And then I like to write down my group number, my team number, my number of directors, frontline directors, and then active frontline. Active frontline is something that you can track regardless if you are a director or above. Your team number, your TWV, sales, and then your personal recruits. So regardless of what your title is, those are 4 numbers that you could be tracking on top of your PRV every single month to measure your growth. And then, like I showed you guys before, let's see if you guys can see that. On each square, I mark if I have a sale that day. This side's a little bit more full. This day also we had the flash sale. There was too many people to list. But what I do is I try to aim for a sale a day. And until my PRV beats my goal that I wrote down, I keep it in red. And then once I finally hit my goal, then I will write it in green. Whether it's with a green Sharpie or another green one of these little markers. But kind of, it just gives me a visual of, okay, I'm working, I'm still, I'm not done yet. What I like to do is when this is still red, I'm focusing on this month's promotions. My team asks a lot of times, well, how do I know when the right time is to advertise the new catalog? Or when is it the right time to start advertising and sharing stuff that's coming next month? The holiday collection, the harvest collection, the summer collection, anything like that. Until my planner is on green, I focus on what I'm selling this month. Because I don't want to hurt my sales for the next month. So I focus on this month because, again, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to beat myself and my numbers from the year before. So that's how I have it on the first page. Now, the daily totals. This is where, get to this week's. You also have the daily breakdown of each one. And what I like to do on this one is that's where I write down my actual numbers. 2 different reasons. One, I want to see that I have growth. This allows me to see throughout the month where my numbers came from. On last month, there was a big jump on the flash sale day. So I made sure, again, also on here to write this day, my numbers are going to jump because there was a flash sale. Yesterday, I made sure to put Wally and Moana at the bottom so that it explains why I have the jump in the numbers. But on the daily breakdowns, I list my PRV, my GWV, my TWV, and my active frontline. The reason why I also do this on a day-to-day is because sometimes, especially being in this long, or actually regardless of how long you've been in, to be honest with you, you're like, okay, what do I work with today? What should I focus on? Should I be focusing on sales? If you are building a team, you're like, okay, do I focus on my team page? What do I share on my team page? Do I share sales tips or do I share recruiting tips and team building? These numbers let me know what to focus on that day. I look at yesterday's numbers for my PRV, and if my PRV has not moved, then I'm not going to go and try to work with my team. I need to make sure that my business is in place. I need to make sure that I'm growing before I even try to start talking to my team about what they need to be doing. So if my PRV has not changed from yesterday, then my focus is going to be on my sales that day or my recruiting that day. Until I get a sale that day, I'm going to be working in my VIP group. I'm going to be working on samples and mail outs until I get that PWS order, or if I get a customer saying, hey, I want to add this to your local order. Then I'll shift my focus. Then I look at my team numbers. Okay, this is my TWV, and this is my active frontline. And this is our team numbers, recruits. Okay. If our TWV, our team wholesale volume, has not moved, we're going to have some type of sales challenge or an idea of what to share that day. What demo can they try? What type of theme? And I'll be honest with you, I refer a lot of my team to Shauna's page because her sharing without selling has done not just wonders for me, myself, but it has done wonders for my team to where she's one of the very first things that I see when I wake up in the morning. And it's not salesy. It's not annoying. It's not oh, here's Shauna trying to sell something else. She is showing how she is working her business that day, whether it's cleaning, whether it's wax that's leaving. So I love her ideas, and I'll push that to my team. I'll either copy and paste it and say, look at what Shauna, or head over to Shauna's, or I'll try, if I'm home, because I travel a lot during the summer. If I'm home, then I kind of recreate what she's done and I share it with my team. And I'm like, okay, we need to do the sales part today. We need to focus on 6-packs, or we need to find a cleaning item and clean something in our house. But that's another reason why I like to track the numbers, is so that I can see where my growth is, but also my team's growth, because my team still affects my growth, whether I'm looking for promotion, whether I'm looking for growth in my active frontline numbers. Those are all numbers that I track, that even though it's not my personal business, once you're a leader, those numbers also factor into your personal growth. The success of your team is not just under your team wholesale volume, but also your active frontline. And that's a number that I was not even paying attention to, I will be completely honest, until I started doing my bar reports, business analysis reports with home office. That's something that home office looks at, and it's something that I never looked at before. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now I encourage my team to get active, and to try to be active by the 10th or the 15th of the month. And that's another number that I look at. And if my active frontline numbers are really low for the month, then I know that that's the area that I need to be focusing on. I need to make sure that my team is focusing on selling and keeping their minimums up, because I don't want them to have to cancel out or to lose their teams because they're not hitting those minimums, and then they lose their downline or they cancel. Recruiting people is already hard enough. You've done the hard job. You don't want them to cancel out after you got them to sign on. So the numbers of the tracking is what also helps me know, okay, we need to be focusing on my personal sales. I need to be focusing on helping my team gain sales. And if both of those numbers are up, then we're going to transition and we're going to shift our focus over to recruiting. Because ultimately, recruiting is what's also going to be long run where you're going to grow in your business when it comes to promotions. We're about to start an incentive period, and if you've been in the incentive period before, you know that recruiting and helping your downline promote during the incentive period, that's another way to measure your growth, is earning those incentive trips. So hopefully that gives you guys a couple of ideas on how to track. If you're not sure, I'm sure most of you guys have or know where to find your numbers, but to find your numbers from last year is really easy. You just go onto the workstation. You are going to go to the reporting tab, and then my performance, and then it should give you a breakdown right there on that screen. And at the very top, it has the month and the year. You can go back, I think it goes back maybe 3 years right now. Sometimes it kind of caps it, but you can go back, you can select previous months and see whether you're wanting to track 2021, 2020, 2019, whichever year you want to compare your numbers to. But that's what I do at the very beginning of every single month, is I go back, I do the month previous. But like I said, if you don't want to track the past 2 years because those numbers are kind of wonky and out of skew, then go back to 2019 and make sure that you're staying on track with that growth, because even if it's just a little bit of growth, it's not in the negative, which means that you're still growing. And that's something you should be proud of, because times are hard right now. And what's happening right now is we're seeing the people that really want this business, that really want it to work, because it's not as easy as what it was last year or 2 years ago. You have to have systems in place. You were getting over that little dip, but once we come out of this dip, it's going to be worth it, and you're going to be so proud of yourself for not giving up, and you're going to be proud of yourself for pushing through and to continuing to grow. So if you guys have any questions about my system, how to pull your numbers or anything like that, just let me know. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a great Wednesday, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.